Let's be honest about something most people are afraid to say out loud. Attraction doesn't respond to effort the way we were taught. You can be respectful, emotionally available, consistent, and kind, and still be overlooked. Not because you did something wrong, but because attraction isn't built on approval. It's built on presence. From a young age, men are conditioned to believe that if they show enough interest, give enough attention, and prove enough value, attraction will eventually follow. But real world experience tells a different story. The men who struggle the most are often the ones trying the hardest. They give too much too soon, explain themselves too deeply, and invest emotionally before anything has been earned. Here's the truth most men never hear: attraction is not created by chasing, it's created by emotional polarity, by confidence that doesn't ask for permission, by a grounded sense of self that doesn't depend on being chosen. This doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or disrespectful. And it definitely doesn't mean playing games or manipulating emotions. It means understanding how attraction actually works at a psychological level. Women don't respond to pressure, they respond to certainty. They don't chase attention, they chase clarity, direction, and emotional steadiness. If you've ever felt confused by mixed signals, sudden distance, or being liked but not chosen, this isn't about blaming anyone. It's about recognizing patterns. Because in most cases, disinterest isn't permanent, it's conditional. And the condition is how you show up. This video is about shifting from seeking validation to embodying value, from chasing interest to becoming grounded enough that interest finds you. Once you understand that, the entire dynamic changes. Chasing feels logical. If you want something, you go after it. You show interest, you stay consistent, you prove you care. On the surface, that makes sense, but attraction doesn't follow logic. It follows perception. And the moment you start chasing, the perception shifts against you. When a man chases too hard, he unknowingly communicates one thing: his value depends on her response. That single signal changes everything. Instead of feeling chosen, she feels pressured. Instead of curiosity, she feels certainty, and certainty without effort removes attraction. What was once intriguing becomes predictable. Attention is powerful because it signals importance. When you give it freely, excessively, and without balance, it loses its weight. Your messages arrive too fast. Your availability feels unlimited. Your interest becomes obvious, and what's obvious rarely feels exciting. Not because interest is bad, but because unearned access removes emotional tension. This is where most men misunderstand the situation. They believe chasing shows confidence. In reality, confidence doesn't pursue validation. It allows space. A grounded man doesn't need to convince someone to see his value. He assumes it's there and lets others discover it over time. Chasing also reverses polarity. Instead of two people moving toward each other, one person is pushing while the other leans back. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. That resistance often gets misread as she's playing hard to get, when in truth, she's reacting to pressure. Attraction grows when interest is mutual and paced. The moment it becomes one-sided, it begins to fade. Understanding this isn't about pulling away to gain control, it's about restoring balance, and balance is where attraction can actually breathe. Say next, when you're ready for section 2, stop leading with her looks. One of the fastest ways to blend into the background is to lead with admiration. When a man's first move is focused on a woman's appearance, he unintentionally places her above him, not as an equal, but as something to impress. And that shift happens instantly, often before a real connection even has a chance to form. Physical attraction is natural. Noticing beauty is human. The problem isn't attraction itself, it's making it the foundation. When looks become the opening currency, the dynamic becomes predictable. Compliments, praise, and validation are expected because they are common. They don't create curiosity, they confirm assumptions. What actually stands out is composure. When you engage a woman without immediately referencing her appearance, you signal emotional maturity. You communicate that you're not easily impressed and that your attention is selective. That doesn't make you cold or distant. It makes you grounded. A calm, normal conversation does more than flattery ever could. Asking thoughtful questions, listening without trying to impress, and responding with ease shifts the energy. It removes the pressure and replaces it with intrigue. Suddenly, she's not being evaluated for how she looks, but for who she is. And that change is felt. This doesn't mean never complimenting her. It means timing and intention matter. Appreciation should come after connection, not before it. When attraction is built on presence instead of praise, it feels earned rather than expected. Leading with her looks tells her you want approval. Leading with curiosity tells her you have standards. And standards are far more attractive than admiration. Say next when you're ready for section 3. Make attention earned, not automatic. One of the most overlooked truths in modern dating is this: attention only has value when it's intentional. When your time, energy, and focus are given freely and constantly, they stop meaning anything. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing it without discernment. Many men believe consistency alone creates attraction, so they text first every time, reply immediately, and stay constantly available. What they don't realize is that this behavior removes the opportunity for mutual investment. When one person is doing all the reaching, the other never has to lean in. Attraction deepens through participation. When a woman has space to initiate, to wonder, and to invest, she becomes emotionally involved. But if your attention is always there, always ready, always waiting, there's nothing for her to step into. You've already filled the space. Making attention earned isn't about withholding affection or playing games. It's about aligning your energy with effort. If she engages, you engage. If she pulls back, you stay centered instead of chasing. This creates a rhythm where interest can grow naturally rather than being forced. A man who values his attention sends a clear message: his time matters. And when your time matters to you, it starts to matter to others. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding with intention. This shift changes everything. Conversations feel lighter, pressure disappears, and instead of trying to hold her interest, you allow her the chance to show hers. That's when attraction stops feeling like work and starts feeling mutual. Most men never struggle with attraction because they lack value. They struggle because they don't treat their value as real. The moment a woman shows interest, they abandon their standards and shift into approval-seeking mode. That shift is subtle, but it's felt immediately. From an early age, men are taught that women are the reward. That if you say the right things, do enough, and prove yourself long enough, you might be chosen. This mindset quietly places you beneath her, not as a partner, but as a candidate. And no one feels attracted to someone who is auditioning. Becoming the prize doesn't mean arrogance or entitlement, it means selectivity. It means asking yourself, does this person add to my life? Do her actions match her words? Does she respect my time? When you carry standards, your energy changes. You stop trying to impress and start observing. A man with standards doesn't rush emotional investment. He doesn't tolerate inconsistency. He doesn't over-explain himself to be understood. He remains calm whether she leans in or pulls back because his sense of worth isn't tied to her reaction. This is where true confidence comes from, not from attention but from self-trust. When you know what you offer and what you expect, you naturally lead the dynamic. She feels that you are choosing, not chasing. Women are drawn to men who are grounded in themselves, not because they are dominant, but because they are stable. They don't seek validation. They allow connection to develop naturally. And in a world full of men trying to be picked, the one who knows his value becomes impossible to ignore. Attraction fades quickly when everything is revealed too soon. Many men believe openness means telling their whole story right away, sharing their past, their plans, their emotions, and their intentions in detail. While honesty matters, timing matters more. When there's nothing left to discover, curiosity disappears. Mystery isn't about hiding or being deceptive. It's about restraint. It's understanding that connection grows in layers, not all at once. When you reveal yourself gradually, you give space for interest to develop. When you reveal everything immediately, you remove the reason to lean in. Oversharing often comes from the need to be understood or liked, but attraction doesn't grow from explanation, it grows from experience. A man who is comfortable with silence, who doesn't rush to fill every gap, naturally creates intrigue. His presence feels calm, not performative. Predictability feels safe, but safety alone doesn't spark desire. Curiosity does. When a woman can't fully read you, she becomes more attentive. She listens more closely. She wonders. And that wondering builds emotional engagement. This doesn't mean acting distant or vague. It means answering without over explaining, speaking with clarity instead of excess, letting conversations breathe instead of forcing depth before it's earned. If she already knows everything about you, there's no reason for attraction to deepen. But when there's space to discover, to question, and to feel, connection grows naturally. Mystery isn't about control, it's about allowing attraction to unfold at its own pace. One of the biggest mistakes men make is trying to remove all uncertainty as quickly as possible. They reassure constantly, check in often, and try to make everything feel secure right away. While reassurance has its place, too much of it too soon eliminates the very tension that allows attraction to grow. Emotional investment requires space, not distance filled with anxiety or confusion, but room to reflect. When a woman has space, she has time to notice your absence, to think about how she feels, and to recognize your presence as something meaningful rather than constant. When you're always available, always responding, always smoothing over every pause, you take that opportunity away. There's no contrast, no emotional rhythm. Everything feels flat. Attraction needs movement, connection followed by space, to stay alive. This doesn't mean disappearing or creating insecurity. It means not rushing to fill every silence, not reacting immediately to every shift in energy, allowing conversations and interactions to end naturally instead of forcing continuity. Space also communicates confidence. A man who is comfortable stepping back shows that his life is full and purposeful. He isn't waiting to be chosen. He's moving forward, with or without validation. That self-direction is deeply attractive because it signals emotional stability. When space is used correctly, it invites the other person to step forward. She begins to initiate. She becomes curious. She invests emotionally because she chooses to, not because she's being pulled. Attraction grows strongest when both people have room to move toward each other. Space makes that possible. Many men try to communicate their value by saying it out loud, through compliments, reassurance, and constant approval. They believe that if they express enough interest, it will be returned. But value doesn't work that way. The more you seek validation, the less valuable you appear. True value is felt, not explained. It shows up in how you carry yourself, how you respond under pressure, and how you move through the world without needing permission. A man who knows his worth doesn't need to convince anyone of it. His behavior speaks first. Excessive validation often backfires because it places the other person in a position of emotional authority. When you're always approving, agreeing, or praising, you quietly communicate that their opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself. That imbalance weakens attraction. Showing value means being steady. It means listening without overreacting, speaking with intention rather than urgency, holding your frame even when you're tested or misunderstood. This kind of composure creates respect, and respect is a foundation of attraction. Compliments still matter, but they should be specific, earned, and intentional, not constant, not automatic. When appreciation is rare and sincere, it carries weight. A man who doesn't seek validation becomes magnetic because he feels complete. He isn't trying to fill a gap with attention. He's inviting someone into a life that already has direction and purpose. When you stop proving your worth, people begin to feel it. And when they feel it, attraction follows naturally. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many men hear it and think it means ignoring, disappearing, or acting cold. In reality, detachment has nothing to do with withdrawing to provoke a reaction. It's about releasing emotional dependence on an outcome. When a man stays attached to a specific result, needing a message, a reply, or reassurance, his behavior becomes reactive. He overthinks. He checks constantly. He adjusts himself to avoid loss. That energy is felt, and it quietly erodes attraction. Detachment restores balance. It allows you to stay present without being consumed. You can enjoy connection without clinging to it. You can express interest without needing it returned immediately. This emotional independence creates calm, and calm is powerful. Letting go doesn't mean cutting someone off. It means continuing your life without putting it on pause. You stop monitoring their actions, you stop seeking signs, you redirect focus back to your work, your goals, and your growth, not as a tactic, but as a lifestyle. When someone senses that your attention is no longer guaranteed, dynamics shift naturally, not because you're trying to be missed, but because you're no longer orbiting them. That shift often invites respect and renewed interest. The strongest position is not indifference, it's self possession. You're open, but not dependent. Interested, but not attached. That balance creates attraction because it signals emotional strength. Detachment isn't about losing connection, it's about maintaining yourself within it. And that's where real confidence lives.